The surgical BBL has a very specific look that is increasingly easy to spot. The natural version looks like someone who just trains well, which in 2026 is honestly more impressive and more attractive than the surgery look, which is becoming associated with a very specific aesthetic that is already starting to fade in popularity. Natural is winning, and the women who put in the work now are going to be the ones who look incredible for decades, while the surgical results fade. Most women training for a BBL physique are training the wrong muscles, or training the right muscles the wrong way, or both. BBL stands for Brazilian Butt Lift. The surgical version involves a surgeon removing fat from one part of your body through liposuction and injecting it into your glutes to create a rounder, fuller, more projected shape. It is one of the most popular cosmetic surgeries in the world right now, and also one of the highest risk procedures you can get done. The mortality rate for BBL surgery is significantly higher than most other elective cosmetic procedures. That is not an opinion, that is a medical fact. The natural BBL is the process of building the glute muscles to create a round, lifted, projected shape while simultaneously reducing fat around the waist to create the ratio that makes the whole look work. You are not injecting anything. You are not removing anything. You are building muscle in the right places and reducing fat in others to create the visual effect naturally. Now here is the honest part. Surgery is immediate. The natural version takes months to years of consistent work. But here is what the natural version gives you that surgery cannot. It is permanent as long as you maintain it. It improves your health rather than risking it. It builds actual muscle, which makes your entire body function better. And it looks natural because it is natural. The BBL shape that everyone is chasing is created by a large gluteus maximus for projection and fullness, combined with a developed gluteus medius for width and the shelf shape. You need both. Training only one and ignoring the other is why so many women are stuck. You can do 1,000 hip thrusts, but if your glute medius is underdeveloped, your hips will look narrow and the whole shape falls apart. You can do 1,000 side abductions, but if your gluteus maximus is underdeveloped, there is nothing to project from the back and you just have wide, flat hips. You need both. Full development of all 3 glute muscles. Your glutes are not one muscle. They are 3 muscles, and each one does something different for the overall shape. Understanding this is the difference between training for years and seeing nothing versus training smart and seeing real change in months. Muscle number 1, the gluteus maximus. This is the big one, the largest muscle in your entire body. This is what creates the round, full, projected look from the side. When people say they want a bigger butt, they are primarily talking about the gluteus maximus. This muscle responds to heavy compound movements, hip thrusts, Romanian deadlifts, squats, heavy weight, full range of motion, progressive overload. This is the engine of the BBL shape. Muscle number 2, the gluteus medius. This is the one that sits on the upper outer part of your glutes, closer to your hip. The gluteus medius is what creates width. It is what makes your hips look wider from the front. It is what creates that shelf shape at the top of the glutes that makes the waist look smaller by contrast. Most women barely train this muscle at all. It responds best to abduction movements, side-lying abductions, clamshells with resistance, cable kickbacks to the side, lateral band walks. Muscle number 3, the gluteus minimus. The smallest of the 3 sits underneath the medius, helps with the overall roundness and fullness of the outer glute. Similar exercises to the medius, but with more focus on controlled movement and activation. You cannot build a BBL physique while eating very little. You cannot. It is not possible. Building muscle requires raw material, and that raw material comes from food, specifically protein. If you are not eating enough protein, your body has nothing to build muscle with, no matter how hard you train. This is the diet reality that gets avoided because it conflicts with the weight loss messaging that dominates women's fitness content. Most fitness content for women is about eating less and losing weight. Building a BBL physique is about eating enough and gaining muscle. These are opposite goals and require opposite approaches to food. Protein first. Aim for 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every single day. If you weigh 140 pounds, that is 98 to 140 grams of protein daily. This sounds like a lot because for most people it is significantly more than they are currently eating. But this is the non-negotiable foundation of building any significant muscle, including the glutes. Best protein sources for this goal: chicken, turkey, eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, fish, beef. These are your best friends. Eat them consistently, hit your protein number, and the muscle building process has the material it needs to work. Calories. You need to be eating at maintenance or in a slight surplus to build muscle effectively. A surplus of around 200 to 300 calories above your maintenance level is enough to support muscle growth without gaining excessive fat. This is sometimes called a lean bulk. You are eating slightly more than your body needs to maintain weight, which gives it the extra energy and nutrients needed to build new muscle tissue. The women who transform their physique fastest are almost always the ones who stopped being afraid of food and started treating it as the tool it is. Food is not the enemy. Insufficient food is the enemy of the body you are trying to build. Carbohydrates are not evil. Your muscles run on glycogen, which comes from carbohydrates. Rice, oats, potatoes, fruit. These fuel your workouts and support your recovery. Cutting carbs while trying to build muscle is like trying to drive a car without putting petrol in it and then blaming the car for not moving. Let me tell you why your glutes are not growing. Reason 1, you are not lifting heavy enough. This is the biggest one. Your glutes are the largest muscle in your body. They are designed to handle serious load. They are not going to respond meaningfully to light resistance band work and 3-pound ankle weights. Muscles grow when they are challenged beyond their current capacity. If you are comfortable during your glute workout, your glutes are comfortable. Comfortable glutes do not grow. The women with the best natural glutes in the gym are almost always the ones hip thrusting with plates loaded on the bar, not the ones doing 20 minutes of resistance band exercises. The resistance bands have their place, but they are not the primary driver of glute growth. Heavy compound movements are. Reason 2, you are not eating enough. Building muscle requires a caloric surplus or at minimum maintenance calories combined with high protein intake. If you are eating in a significant deficit, your body has nothing to build with. You cannot grow muscle while your body is in starvation mode. It is biologically impossible. Yet this is exactly what most women trying to build a BBL physique are doing. Eating very little, doing lots of exercise, and wondering why their body is not changing shape. You are not growing glutes. You are just getting smaller overall, which is the opposite of the goal. Reason 3, you are not getting a proper mind-muscle connection. This sounds like fitness influencer nonsense, but it is actually supported by real research. If you cannot feel your glutes working during a hip thrust, they are probably not doing most of the work. Your hamstrings or lower back might be compensating. Learning to actually activate and feel the glute during exercises dramatically improves the training stimulus and therefore the results. Reason 4, you are not being consistent enough or patient enough. Glute growth is one of the slower processes in fitness. The glutes are a large muscle group, and building them to a noticeably different shape takes months of consistent, dedicated work. Most people quit after 6 weeks because they cannot see a difference yet. But the 6-week mark is exactly when the foundation is being laid for the visible changes that come at month 3, 4, and 5. Reason 5, and this one is for the people doing 2 hours of cardio every day. You are eating your glute muscle for fuel. We will get to this in more detail later on in the video, but the short version is that excessive cardio combined with low-calorie intake is the fastest way to ensure your glutes never grow, regardless of how many squats you do. All right, the exercises, the actual movements that build the actual shape. Let's go through them. Exercise 1, the hip thrust. This is the single most effective exercise for building the gluteus maximus. Nothing comes close. The hip thrust puts the glute under maximum tension at the fully contracted position, which is exactly where you want resistance to be for maximum muscle growth. You do these with a barbell across your hips, back on a bench, driving through your heels and squeezing at the top. Heavy weight, controlled movement, full range. This is the foundation of the entire program. Exercise 2, the Romanian deadlift. This builds the glute and hamstring connection that creates the lower glute fullness and the underbutt definition that is a huge part of the BBL shape. The RDL stretches the glute under load, which is one of the best stimuli for muscle growth. You feel this one the next day, in a good way, eventually. Exercise 3, the Bulgarian split squat. One of the most hated exercises in fitness and also one of the most effective. Single leg, rear foot elevated, deep range of motion. This builds the entire glute while also improving the shape and proportion between left and right sides. Most people have a dominant side, and the split squat fixes that imbalance over time. Exercise 4, cable or band kickbacks. Specifically targeting the gluteus maximus through a different movement plane than the hip thrust. Great for the upper glute and creating the shelf shape. The key here is controlling the weight on the way back down. The eccentric portion is where a lot of the growth stimulus comes from, and most people rush it. Exercise 5, side-lying abductions with resistance. This is your gluteus medius builder. Lying on your side with a resistance band above your knees, lifting the top leg up and controlling it back down. Sounds easy. With a heavy enough band, it is genuinely difficult, and the burn in the outer glute is intense. These need to be done with enough resistance that the last few reps are hard. Exercise 6, lateral band walks. Also for the gluteus medius. Walking sideways with a resistance band above your knees activates the outer glute in a way that most other exercises miss. Do these before your main compound work as an activation exercise, and you will feel significantly more glute engagement during your hip thrusts and squats. The order matters. Start with activation work, lateral walks, clamshells, to wake the glutes up. Then move to your heavy compound movements, hip thrusts, RDLs, split squats. Then finish with isolation work, kickbacks, abductions. This sequence gives you the best muscle activation throughout the session. Okay, this is the part that is going to upset some people. Specifically the people who make resistance band content. But it needs to be said. There are exercises that are everywhere on social media, included in programs that cost $40, and they are doing almost nothing for building the BBL shape, donkey kicks. On all fours, kicking one leg back toward the ceiling. As a primary glute builder, they are almost useless. The resistance is your own body weight, which for most people is not nearly enough to provide the stimulus needed for meaningful muscle growth. Fire hydrants. Same problem. Body weight side leg raises on all fours. Again, fine for activation, completely insufficient for actual muscle growth. Body weight glute bridges. Better than nothing, but significantly less effective than loaded hip thrusts. One barely moves the needle. One changes your body. Inner and outer thigh machines. These work the hip adductors and abductors, but they do very little for the actual glute muscles that create the BBL shape. They also develop the inner thigh, which in excess can actually make the legs look less defined rather than more shapely. Time in the gym is limited. Spending it on low-return exercises while avoiding the high-return ones is why progress stalls. The exercises that actually work require more effort, more equipment, and more weight. They are harder. They are less comfortable. They look less cute on social media, but they build the shape. Do the hard ones. Building a noticeable natural BBL physique takes time, real time. And the timeline depends on your starting point, your genetics, your consistency, and your diet. But here are realistic benchmarks for someone starting from scratch who follows the program correctly. Month 1 and 2. You will probably not see dramatic visual changes yet. This is the foundation phase. Your nervous system is learning the movements. Your body is adapting to the new training stimulus. Your glute muscles are waking up, many of them for the first time if you have been sedentary. You might notice your clothes fitting slightly differently. You will almost certainly notice you are stronger. The visual changes are coming, but they are not here yet. Month 3 and 4. This is when most people start to notice something. The glutes are getting more defined. There is more shape, more projection, more roundness. If you have also been eating well and managing your body fat, the waist ratio is starting to improve. People around you might start commenting. This is the phase where staying consistent becomes easier because you can see it working. Month 5 and 6. Significant visible changes. This is the phase where people who have stayed consistent look noticeably different from where they started. The BBL shape is emerging. The glutes are fuller, more projected, more developed. The difference in before and after photos from month 1 to month 6 is genuinely impressive for someone who has followed the program correctly. 1 year. This is where the transformation is complete enough to be completely obvious to everyone. The physique is built. The shape is established. The work from here is maintenance and refinement rather than building from scratch. 2 to 3 years of consistent training produces a physique that most people would assume required surgery. This is the honest truth. Natural glute development at its best. 2 to 3 years of real work produces results that are genuinely comparable to surgical results, except they are yours permanently, they are healthy, and they are built on an actual foundation of muscle rather than transplanted fat that can shift and fade over time. Most women quit somewhere in month 2, right before the results start showing. Do not be most women. Train your glutes 3 times per week with at least 1 rest day between sessions. Your glutes need time to recover and grow between sessions. Training them every day is not more effective. It is less effective because you are not giving the muscle time to rebuild stronger. On your non-glute training days, train other muscle groups. Upper body, core, whatever you enjoy. This keeps your overall fitness progressing while your glutes recover. The one thing you must do every week, track your weights. Write down what you lifted. Next session, try to do 1 more rep or add a small amount of weight. This is progressive overload. This is the mechanism by which muscle grows. Without progressive overload, you are just maintaining what you have. With it, you are constantly building. That is the complete plan. The muscles, the exercises, the diet, the timeline, the weekly structure. Everything you need to build the natural BBL physique without surgery, without starving yourself, and without wasting another 6 months on donkey kicks. The only thing left is to actually do it. My name is Kiki, and welcome to Void Vanta. See you in the next one.